fat middleweight. That's what I think. He's a very fat middleweight. He doesn't know how to control his diet.
But he says that he's in good enough condition and has enough class to beat you tonight.
He's dreaming. I'll get in his dream and shatter his dream for him.
Tony, Andries is calling you a fat middleweight tonight. What do you think of that?
Well, take a look. You know, it's all moves. But I know I'm confident. I'm going to do a good job tonight, and it's all about winning. And this is the icing on the cake. That's the way it is.
What about the difference in weight and particularly height?
Let him worry about that. I'm not worried. This is the big stuff, and it's a world title, and that's what I want.
Sibbo, confident and mean. It's live boxing after the break. It's Andries against Sibson, and thunder and lightning, as they're called, are about to emerge into the lights of the Alexandra Pavilion for the world title fight. Our men at the ringside, former world lightweight champion Jim Watt, and first of all, Reg Guttridge.
Well, there's the referee there, Sid Nathan from London, looking very resplendent in his lime green shirt, awaiting the entries of the gladiators. He's handling his 11th World Championship tonight, and it's the lights out, of course, at the famous Alexandra Palace and the pavilion next door to it now, waiting for the spotlight as the fighters start to leave the dressing room. A very nerve-wracking time, of course, for them. Promoter Frank Warren there. He's leading in the challenger, Tony Sibson, who, of course, had a previous crack at a world championship at middleweight against what we now know is the incomparable Marvin Hagler in Worcester, Massachusetts. So there's all the debates, the arguments now. Is he big enough? The general press opinion has gone for Andries. It looks as though he's been sweating in the dressing room there, but certainly not with fear, Sibson. He's been around too long for that, but merely working himself up for the fight, getting off quickly. He's younger than Andries in boxing terms. He is very much a veteran, turned professional on his 18th birthday, 10 years ago. A huge Sibson fan club, as always, chanting Sibbo, Sibbo for the last hour, practically, awaiting the entry into the ring from their man from Leicester. All gloved up, and that's all watched in the dressing rooms by officials, that nobody slipped any horseshoes in there for luck. So almost disco atmosphere here with the chanting and the lights. And trainer Ken Squires is just putting the finishing touches to his man, rather like a racehorse going down to the starting gate, but a little bit tougher than that. He talks about fights giving him a buzz, Sibson. He's known for being a bit sluggish in non-title fights. And here comes Dennis Andries, led there by Bo Williford from America, North Carolina actually, who's been helping in the training. And as he just comes into the spotlight, there he is, manager Greg Steen, who, since he's taken care now of Dennis Andries, he's been unbeaten for 4 years. And it's throwing in the confetti for good luck, I hope. Not really confetti, it looks like maybe a torn-up petting slip, who knows. But Andries is, in fact, the favourite. There he is, Dennis Andries, born in Guyana and brought up in Hackney in London, and still lives there. So there's the man who, well, even he would admit, sort of came from nowhere to become the World Boxing Council light heavyweight champion, defeating the American J.B. Williamson at Pickett's Lock in London last April. That was on points.
Gentlemen, please. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding for the national anthem?
So the traditional playing of the anthem. And I should add that this fight is also for the British Championship. Very unusual, that. So a very sporting start with everybody clapping each other there. The judges come from England, 2 of them, the other from Switzerland. Mickey Van from Leeds, his first championship, and Roland Dakin, and Franz Marti alongside me from Switzerland.
Gentlemen, please.
So here's the
Ladies
official
and
introduction
gentlemen,
from Mike Shinfield.
Frank Warren presents a light heavyweight contest of 12 3-minute rounds, sponsored by Scrutchley Script, for the light heavyweight championship of Great Britain and for the WBC light heavyweight championship of the world. Presenting and introducing in this corner, ladies and gentlemen, the challenger from Leicester, Tony Sibson. The light heavyweight champion of the world, Andries.
Tremendous atmosphere, I tell you, it's incredible.
And the weigh-in, Sibson scale, 12 stones 4 pounds, Andries 12 stones 6.5 pounds. The officials for this contest, ladies and gentlemen, appointed by the WBC, referee is Mr. Sid Nathan. Judges from Great Britain, Mr. Roland Dakin and Mr. Mickey Van. From Switzerland, Franz Marti. And the WBC representatives from Great Britain, Mr. David Hopkins. From Mexico, Dimitri Balado.
So the formalities are over.
Gentlemen, will you please take your seats so the contest can begin?
So there you are, that's the tail of the tape and weights, etc. We were all surprised that Sibson came in at 12.4. Remember, the middleweight limit is 11.6. But I don't know how he's done that weight. He certainly fooled me with that one, but he's only giving away 2.5 pounds. They weigh in today at 1 o'clock, and at least it makes a change to have an all-British championship fight, because the last one was my verbal sparring partner on my right tonight, Jim Watt, against Charlie Nash. So here we go then. Scheduled for 12 rounds, the World Boxing Council, and also for the British Championship. So now we'll find out whether it's all about strength of Andries or that little extra experience at the top by Sibson. So it's range finding a bit with the left hands, Jim, isn't it, early on like this?
Yeah, well, I think this fight is going to depend a lot on who manages to force his opponent back. They both like to box going forward, and it's I think Sibson's only chance is to force Andries back. Andries has the weight advantage, the height advantage and the reach advantage, but to my mind Sibson's a better all-round fighter, but to be effective he has to be moving forward.
Well, Sibson's won his sort of, we won't call them comeback fights, but he took quite a time off after defeating Mark Taylor. And he had a couple of slips in those fights, so his chin's going to be well tested tonight by Andries, as we say, the bigger man, and he would contend certainly the stronger. Thing about Andries is very durable customer. He's caught him with some good shots there, Sibson, but Andries has only been stopped once when he had to come in as a substitute, and that was against a full heavyweight, David Pearce. He then became British heavyweight champion. So with a minute to go in the opening round, it's lively in the ring, and I can assure you it's lively outside here. The Sibson fans banging their feet on these sort of metal stands here. Well, they're not hanging around in the opening round, are they?
No, they certainly are not. I think everyone, including Sibson, expects Sibson to be most effective in the first half of the fight. So if I was handling Andries, I would say make sure you have a good first round. Don't let Sibson have a good first round, because that's what he expects. And Andries has certainly done that. He's been a lot sharper in this first round than I've ever seen him. Normally a slow starter, but he's looking nice and sharp tonight.
And there's the countdown clock for the round then. 3-minute duration. Well, it keeps up like that, we're going to be okay. So there you are. There's the information you need about Dennis Andries. And the British light heavyweight champion. He won a belt outright too in record time. And that's Bo Williford in the ring there, who handles the heavyweight James Quick-Tillis. Sibson's corner then, and he still is the Commonwealth middleweight champion. 60 fights. He knows he's been around a bit, hasn't he? He gave up the British and European championships without defeat. So round 2, and already it's a great deal more entertaining than when Andries took the championship, and certainly deservedly so, against J.B. Williamson of Los Angeles. Boxing traditions have always said that a good big one will always beat a good little one. We'll find out here. But can hardly say 2.5 pounds is that much difference, but there you go. He's still looking a middleweight with movement, Sibson. But Jim Watts, I agree with that. Andries is a lot sharper in the opening round than we've seen in previous fights. He usually tends to hang around a little bit. Andries takes the press to task, and indeed commentators, for saying he's not skillful. We don't acknowledge his skill. His left hand's been useful, isn't it?
Yeah, he's really got off to a very sharp start. See, we have to remember, Reg, that winning a title tends to improve a boxer, especially winning a world title. So it's possible that having the confidence of being a world champion and facing a foe that he knows pretty well, that he's feeling pretty confident in there. Also the fact that he's bigger and heavier than Sibson. But he started very sharply.
Into the last minute then of the second. A little bit out of range with the left hand there, though, Andries, and occasionally Sibson's left hooks look a bit useful too. That's always been his pet punch. Mind you, he digs a bit with the right too. Andries looks as though he's willing to throw a few wild punches, Jim. If they connect, they'll do the damage. He doesn't mind missing with a few at this stage, eh?
Yeah, I think Andries just realises his best plan is to try to get in charge early, because that's when they expect Sibson's to be his best. And he's doing that. He's trying to take the play away from Sibson. I'm looking for signs of Sibson's punches troubling Andries, but I haven't seen any signs whatsoever so far.
Oh, I like the little stare at the end of the round there. Sibson took a whack in the body there and gave the impression that that's okay, I can take that. And team working the corner there. And it's manager young Greg Steen on the outside. And Bo Williford is flying off to Australia, I should say, tomorrow to second quick to list against Joe Bugner. Not a particularly smart fight for Joe Bugner to take. And the boys in blue. Kenny Squires in the ring, and Annie Fossey on the right of the picture outside of matchmaker, trainer, and second Brian Walters. Well, he looks full of running, doesn't he? He came in sweating pretty heavily there. That was why I think he made such a sharp start. He's in good condition, he always is, but I think he's mentally in good condition for this fight as well. It's so important. Round 3. Well, he's certainly whacking around with a body there, Andries, Jim, isn't he?
Andries' punches are good.
They're strong.
They're not the most cultured or the most tidy punches, but he's getting them off. And he landed a nice body punch on Sibson then.
Apart from trying to out-punch each other, they're thinking well, these two. They're looking for openings, aren't they?
Yep, they are, but at this stage, Andries' jab is a little bit better than Sibson's. He just has that extra couple of inches on it, and Sibson's is falling short. Andries is landing on target. This is not as good a start as Sibson's would have liked, I'd say.
Well, I think Andries knew about that one. Certainly the crowd liked it from the back of the hall. They don't have to take it, that's why. So a minute to go then in the third. You're right, Jim. It certainly lifts the game of a fighter, doesn't it, when he wins the championship of the world, as indeed you did, of course. Mind you, he was always a bit cagey, but this fellow's tonight, he's just got that little edge of confidence about him, isn't he? He's doing things he hasn't really done in many fights in the past.
That's exactly what he does have, that little bit extra confidence. When you dream about winning a world title, but when you've actually done it, and you know you must be good enough because you've done it, then it certainly gives you the confidence. There goes his jab landing in Sibson again. His jab's definitely sharper than Sibson's, and he has that extra couple of inches on it.
It's the heaviest opponent that Sibson's fought since somebody called Keith Buzzy, who weighed 11-13 or something like that. So he's about 6 pounds heavier than anybody else he's ever fought. So a quick word with the former light heavyweight champion of the world then, John Conte. Here he is with Gary Newbon.
This round, he's very fast. He's faster than Dennis at the moment. Dennis is finding it a bit hard to cope with his speed, but he is coping well with it.
So you've got Sibson ahead?
Yes, by 1 round, the last round.
Well, what about the fast start by Andries, though?
He has to raise the speed up because he's fighting a middleweight, you see, and he's much faster than him. But he's done well with that. The last round, the speed, he got outspeeded by him.
Into round 4, and I was a bit surprised that John Conte, who is very much has been a Dennis Andries fan for a while, gave him some encouragement, and bit of schooling in his last fight. Thought he was in front, Jim. No, I thought Sibson was in front.
See, as I said at the beginning, it depends who's going to be the front foot fighter, who's going to manage to push the opponent back. They're both trying at this stage to drive the other man back. This is where Andries' extra weight will come into play.
Well, considering the added weight of Sibson, he's still got plenty of mobility, I tell you. But whether he's got the power in the punch to halt the champion in his tracks is another thing. Well, he returned the compliment with some body punches there, but once you sting Andries, he showed this in the fight with Williamson, he'll come on again, I tell you. Oops, that was a fall-over job there, and the referee signalling no count for the knockdown.
Well, they both let fly there, Reg, but Andries had the last word. That's a little bit important at this stage.
Well, we knew it'd probably be a rough type of fight, Jim. It's now already doing that by the 4th round. Blocking enough punches, Sibson, is he?
No, he's too intent. He's not had a great deal of success with clean punches, so now he's having to take some chances to get his punches home, therefore leaving himself a little bit open. But he's going to have to do that because Andries has him outranged a little bit. He can't get past Andries' jab properly, so he's having to take some chances now.
Well, when he had to retaliate, the world champion certainly knew how to do it. Let's have a look at the replay from our overhead camera there. This was the point where Sibson decided to move in, and that's welcome the counter stuff coming. Anything will do, both of them here. They're not. There you go. You see, that's where he needed to back off, Sibson. Jim?
Well, as I said, Sibson let go with good punches, but Andries come back. And at the end of the day, Andries had the last word. He started driving Sibson back again. Again, not cultured punches, but big thumping, solid blows. And Sibson had to give ground.
So there's the champion then in close-up.
Seconds out.
Dennis Andries.
Round 5.
Round 5 coming up. Remember, is scheduled for 12 rounds. World Boxing Council Championship. And they've also thrown in the British Championship as a bit of a bonus, certainly for Sibson. If he could win this one, and I suppose a bit more incentive for Andries not to lose both championships. He's got an extraordinary arm strength, Andries, it seems to me, Jim.
Yeah, but he doesn't, as I said earlier, it's not cultured punches he throws, but he's plenty of arm strength, and he gets the arm strength into the punches. And they are big, thumping, powerful punches. But Sibson has never troubled Andries at all with any of his punches. But in reply, Andries has troubled Sibson once or twice. At this stage, Andries is looking that little bit stronger than Sibson.
Sibson's tagged him okay with the left hook, but he hasn't shifted Andries at all. There's just a little nick now cut around Sibson's right eye in the corner. So he's bullying him out of it as well now, Andries. Occasionally beating him to the punch, in fact, quite often. And then when it comes to the pushing and rough stuff, he's the boss there too.
Twice in this round, Sibson has landed bang on with a left hook, which we reckon to be his best punch. But Andries has just taken the punch and come flying right back at him again.
Well, Sibson admitted several times that he's such an awkward and strong man to fight Andries, and now he knows for sure. Just as well that Andries throws that right hand over the top there against Sibson. If he'd nailed him on the side of the head, I think he'd been in a bit of trouble by now, Jim.
Yeah, Sibson's keeping low, trying to keep under Andries' punches. Andries just started to give ground a little bit in that round. I don't know if he's having a breather ready to come back again.
Well, that was the right hand I was talking about. Well, that one dropped him, and he's in trouble at the end of the round there. And he's saying, what happened there? It's always a blow to Sibson's pride when he gets caught like that, apart from shaking his body up, and it certainly did there. So there, as I say, there's the little nick around the right eye. That it's not a serious one, and these seconds are experienced enough to cope with that okay. But you can always do without that in a fight, and certainly more so in a world championship. Now then, we can have a look at that replay there. You see, he really is flailing away so strongly there, Andries. And he was a bit pleased to hang on at that point. So this is the end of the round replay, Jim.
This is, again, we see that Andries has the power to upset Sibson. That was a good punch to the temple, little uppercut. And Sibson was slightly dazed then.
Round 6. So round 6. With that bit of power coming in extra there from Andries, is just as well it was right at the end of the round there for Sibson, because he was in a bit of trouble. Neither of them want to break ground, do they? They're really standing there gritting.
Yes, it's been a cracking fight all the way through. Sibson started this round very well. He's managing to back Andries up a little bit.
Well, he needs to take a little bit of the play away after that, well, what could have been a disaster. Who knows at the end of the last one.
Sibson's having trouble with the range, with his long punches. Any successes when he's up close with his hooks. But he can't seem to land with a jab. He seems to be slightly out of range with the long punches.
He doesn't look as though he's that tall, of course, Andries, but there's the advantage of reach really shows here. Oh, he's done a little bit of showboating now, Andries. I often see that. That means he really fancies this fight now, doesn't he?
Sibson's trying to step up a gear now. He's trying to get close and punching the way in now.
Minute to go in this round. in this round now, the champion. Moved around a bit, take what professional fighters call a bit of a breather, don't you think?
Yeah, I've liked Sibson's work better this round. It's been a bit sharper. He's been moving a bit sharper. Andries has looked a little bit lethargic. He hasn't really landed any crisp, solid punches at all. Sibson still having problems getting past the jab and in close, but throughout the round he's looked a little bit sharper.
So the referee having to point to their corners. I think they know their way back by now. So another view then from John Conti.
Well, how do you see it now, John, going into the second half of the fight?
Well, I see Dennis getting stronger now. He's really imposing himself on the fight. He is the champion. He's much bigger, he's stronger, and he's really he's showing that. He's pushing it. And the blows he's throwing upon Tony are really telling, whereas Tony's blows, when they strike Dennis, he seems to shake them off and just come through. It's like a cheater against a lion, really, you know.
If you're in Sibson's position, what would you be doing now?
Exactly what he's doing. He's fighting a good fight. He's throwing everything into the fight he can do. He's speed. He's trying to avoid the big bombs, but that superior power and strength of Dennis Andries just seems to be telling.
Is he going to last the distance?
I don't think so, no.
So there you are, straight from the old champion's mouth there. Round 7. Actually, his last loss by stoppage was against Don Lee in Atlantic City, Sibson. Just misses a bit, Andries. He'd be a much more devastating champion if he made punches count that much more. He just takes a few chances and doesn't always get through, Jim.
Yeah, but that was also good work from Sibson there. He kept his head nice and low, bobbed and weaved and got himself out of trouble. I think that was as much credit to Sibson that those punches didn't get through. Sibson is trying to move up a gear now. The question is, can Andries do the same? He's always been a bit one-paced. That was a good right hand from Andries. But it's no use being one-paced when Sibson is trying to raise the pace. Andries will have to go with him now.
Remember, 2 British judges and a Swiss who do the voting. The referee does not score under the WBC rules. And the cards are collected after each round and given to the supervisor, who's actually flown in from Mexico for this fight. It looks as though Sibson's just cut over the left eye now, Jim, in the corner again.
Yeah, it just looks like a little nip in the corner of the eye. Just a little trickle of blood.
The right eye, they've patched up well in the corner there with the 1001 adrenaline, which is the only stimulant, not stimulant, coagulant that's allowed under the rules. Well, just as we're coming up for the bell, Jim, last 10, how have you got it now?
Andries, I still have Andries slightly in front, but Sibson's technique is better at this stage. He's slipping Andries' punches, coming up with his own, but I still have Andries slightly in front.
So there's some analysis for you to look at there. Obviously, at this stage of the game, the statistics won't help. But there it is, Sibson, 11 years pro, 18th birthday, turn pro. And you don't often get British fighters with so much experience like this, certainly in World Championship fights. And there's the lady reminding the fighters, coming from the sponsors Croxley Script, who enable, of course, promoter Frank Warren actually to compete with the American promoters now for purse monies, now that they've got the sponsorship. There's Ken Squires, who really works his fellow hard. I call him the Animal, from the Victoria in Syston in Leicestershire.
So we go. Round 8.
It's round 8. Jim Watt's opinion that Dennis Andries is ahead. Early on, John Conte thought Sibson was 1 round ahead, but now he thinks that Andries has started to dominate a bit more. It's that kind of fight. They've worked well on those, tiny little nicks around the eyes of Sibson, weren't they, Jim? So important that when you get the right seconds that can do that, and don't leave the fighter in trouble when he leaves the corner.
Yeah, well, it gives you the confidence that you can forget about the injury. It just started leaking now, Sibson's left eye again. I was just thinking that Andries could be doing with a big round, because Sibson was looking a little bit sharp the last couple of rounds, and Andries seems to have realised that. He's forcing the pace again.
Sid Nathan calming it down a bit there. I think a little bit of chat going on from Sibson, probably saying he was pushing him. He doesn't particularly like being pawed like that. Who does? He's clubbing hard with that right hand, Andries. They're getting a bit nasty, and certainly that cut looks as though it's worsening in the 8th for Sibson.
Well, Andries just wants to stay there. He is the bigger and the stronger of the two. And the mark of a champion is having that big round when you need one. And Andries is trying to do that now.
Well, a minute to go, and Sibson's been ducking and diving on in this round. He hasn't been doing much fighting at all. And is he running out of gas, Jim? He looks a bit weary to me now.
Well, I don't know what's wrong. There's a big difference in pace from Sibson this round to the last. I don't know if he's trying to take a breather, if he doesn't want to try and match Andries for strength. But there's a big change from the previous round to this one. This is without doubt Andries' best round.
The old scribes would have called no quarter sought or given at this stage. Well, he's come to life now. There was some kind of stalling going on at the start, but he lost the round, Sibson. And there you are, to immediately work with those swabs on the cut around the left eye. He's experienced enough not to be bothered by that, Sibson, mind you. Now then, the overhead shot. Let's have a look at the replay, Jim.
Well, all the way through, Andries was forcing the pace, as we can see here. Sibson did not get into that round at all, apart from a couple of seconds right at the end of the round. A very good round for Andries.
Yeah, he just, as John Conte was also saying, he imposed himself very much so in those rounds there. Well, hopefully some words of wisdom now. So round 9, scheduled for 12. both with a good track record for staying power, by the way. Dennis Andries has had 2 15-rounders and 5 at 12.
So, Reg, I don't think I've ever seen Sibson winning a fight going back the way. It's not his style at all, and if Andries forces him back and he volunteers to go back as he is at the beginning of this round, I don't see him with any chance.
No, he's just not getting out the way of punches now. The writing was on the wall in the previous round, and there's a touch of despair. It looks as though he's hurt he's caught him with his leg there as he went down, Jim, a thigh or something. So in the 9th, if Andries applies his pressure, he's got 2 minutes to go. And that old Joe Lewis thing about they can run but they can't hide in the ring is very true for Sibson at this stage.
It's not too often have I seen Tony coming back from such a bad round. I wonder, with everything going against him here, the bigger man, the heavier man, the stronger man, if Tony's going to be able to get his confidence back and get back into this fight. He seems to have lost heart a little bit. The last round and this round, he's been on the floor twice, once from a punch, once from a stumble, but he seems to have lost his rhythm a little bit.
Very much there. Yeah. He'll never be. He's doing the Tarzan call there, saying, "What am I doing down there?" But you know, it gets hard in this game after 60 fights, and it looks as though it's going to be all over in this round. And he's giving in the standing 8 count, which remember is a WBC. But Ken Squires is calling out to the referee that he wants him to stop it anyway, and the referee has. I don't think he even saw the chief second there, the trainer, gesturing. But as Jim Watt said, he started to fade, and Sibson knew it, and I think he resigned himself to the fact that I'm not going to win this fight. And full credit to Dennis Andries, because he did it with great strength. He also imposed a lot more style than we've seen in a lot of fights. And I've just seen only at the weekend Bobby Ches winning the International Boxing Federation Championship against the Yugoslav Kacar. And I know that he wants to fight the winner, so there's plenty of money in store for this fella, Dennis Andries. So let's have a look in the replay now of the knockdowns. Just slow down a bit. There it is, you see, he really is piling it. He was always showing that right hand early on. Now he started to get accurate with it. Managed to get over the hurdle there, okay. Now, the face desperation, isn't it? And a little bit of sadness too, because he's been a great champion, Sibson, in the past. But strength and punch has caught up with him there. Jim?
Yeah, well, Sibson's heart was out of the fight at the end. The referee certainly made a good decision. No success at all the previous round or this round. There is on the floor again. Nothing more to offer. A good show by Tony, but Andries always too big and always too strong.
Well, the security men all around the ring there, keeping everybody off. While they present the WBC trophy, should arrive soon. And here's Dennis Andries, and he's ready to talk to Gary Newman.
Dennis Andries, the big fella, did it in the end.
Well, I told you the guy was a fat middleweight, but a strong middleweight. The guy had a lot of experience, but I had to defend my title, and I done it successfully. Now I'm ready for anybody now.
You started very fast in that fight.
Yeah, well, you can't predict me. That's why people say all these bad things about me. They could never predict Dennis Andries, DA, you know, they can't do that.
Well, you got well on top in the second half of the fight. You were leading anyway. Look at the closing stages, Dennis. And Tony seemed to have lost a lot of heart here.
He didn't lose heart. He's just a fat middleweight. He couldn't take it.
He put up a brave show, didn't he?
Yeah, the man put up a brave show.
Yeah.
But he's got experience. He's ducking and diving and blocking, you know. You got to give the guy credit. The guy was okay.
You called your man.
Yeah, you know.
You called your man.
I had everybody against me, you know. But
he put up a better fight than we expected.
Yeah, he did.
Dennis, you've got these hang-ups about people not liking you, and you think you're very unpopular.
I don't say that. I'm talking to the man. Let me talk to the man. Would you say that? You say that again.
Well, there's a lot of. You seem to think a lot of people don't like you and won't accept you as a champion.
I don't know why. What have I done? All I do is win. That's all I can do. Britain should love a winner. You know, we've had too many losers. It's time the British people love the winners now, you know. We lost the football, cricket, tennis, everything. You got one world champion in England. You should learn to love the champion. Because I'm your champion.
Good.
Dennis Andries is the man.
Thank you very much.
So there it is then. Well, you could say a bit of a sad sight for Tony Sibson there. I thought Dennis Andries was as generous as he could be, really, to the loser, because in boxing parlance, he really was very much the governor, wasn't he? Particularly in the second part of the fight, anyway. So there he is now. Words from Tony Sibson with Gary Newbon.
Yes, that's you, Tony. Unfortunately, a loser tonight. It's easy to be wise afterwards, but was it a foolish thing to go for a light heavyweight?
No, but I must give Dennis more credit now, after the event. He's a capable champion. I thought he was a bit crude as a champion, and maybe I never respected him the way I should have done. He was a good fighter, and I never got into it.
Why?
He was a strong guy, very unorthodox. I just couldn't have no joy.
You seemed to lose heart towards the end. Tony, did you know you weren't going to go anywhere?
I just, I got pretty lonely.
So what happens now, Tony? You going back to middleweight? Because that's where you're obviously suited.
Well, that's where I'm most strongest, but we'll see.
You've had 60 fights. Do you think you'll be able to go on and maintain your previous form as a middleweight?
I'd like to come out with the British, European and Commonwealth titles. I really believed I could have won the world title, but, you know, you all need your day, and it wasn't mine today.
Certainly wasn't. Bad luck, Tony. Good effort. Thank you.
So the usual honest assessment there from Tony Sibson, and it's really been a hard fight indeed there, and quite rightly the plaudits should go now to Dennis Andries, the new not the new, but the continued light heavyweight champion of the world, and he was always in charge. And with that, then it's back from the very excited Alexandra Pavilion here to Nick Owen in the studio.
And I think the night for Sibson summed up earlier by Reg Guttridge when he said in boxing, you can run, but you can't hide. And so Sibson beaten there by Andries in the 9th round. Well, there'll be more boxing from the Alexandra Pavilion later, with George Collins up against the American Mark Braywood. And looking further ahead, another chance